overly legalistic approach, which I think will be a better route.
Stephen Kinnock.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. The recent local elections saw the Conservatives lose almost 500 council seats across Britain as the public delivered its verdict on the Conservative government's performance in Westminster. Voters expressed their dismay at the Chancellor's refusal to get a grip on rising inflation or to offer families support through the cost of living crisis. This gracious speech, therefore, provided the Conservatives with an opportunity to reset, to bring forward legislation to meet three major challenges: to tackle rising household bills, to start growing our economy again, and to build that all-important resilience into our economy that we require at a time when hostile foreign states like Russia and China are on the rise. Yet the Conservative government has offered none of this, which is why the entire gracious speech has fallen utterly and spectacularly flat. Despite the opening sentence of the speech containing a government promise to help ease the cost of living for families, there was nothing of the sort to be seen in the speech, with household energy bills rising by £700 per year and inflation outstripping wages. We needed a government that was ready to tackle this crisis head-on. Instead, the Conservatives are raising taxes on working people. And in this they are an outlier. No other government is responding to this cost of living crisis by hammering working people with more taxes. The Labour Party has a clear plan. Firstly, we would scrap the national insurance rise. Then we would reduce energy bills by as much as £600 per household per year, expand the warm homes discount and support those businesses that are hardest hit. This would be paid for by a windfall tax on the spiralling profits of oil and gas giants who, by the admission of BP bosses themselves, have more money than we know what to do with and are effectively a cash machine. But we would also look to the long term. In addition to these immediate crisis management measures, we would fix the foundations of Britain's economic model. Because despite the government's latest attempts to shift the blame, it is quite clear that the roots of this cost of living crisis are not global, they are national. Madam Deputy Speaker, the reality is that the Chancellor is presiding over a high-tax economy. And the reason for this is that for more than a decade, the Conservatives have presided over a low-growth economy based on insecure work and chronic underinvestment, driving a productivity crisis. Indeed, Britain has a 20% productivity gap with other leading nations. There's been chronic underinvestment by consecutive Conservative governments in research and development, but the impact of that is that there has been a real investment shortfall in the UK compared with Europe by the private sector. Figures from the OECD show that private sector investment as a share of GDP in Britain is the lowest of the 36 members assessed. At the heart of the decline in productivity has been the decline in our manufacturing sector. Since 2015 alone, the government has lost more than 230,000 manufacturing jobs. The result has been an increasingly unbalanced economy in favour of London and the South East, and proof that the Conservatives are not levelling up, they're levelling down. Communities across Britain's proud industrial heartlands, in the Midlands, Northern England and in South Wales, home of my Aberavon constituency and our Port Talbot Steelworks, of which we are immensely proud, they're struggling to get a look in. What we need, Madam Deputy Speaker, is a modern manufacturing renaissance. It's far easier to drive productivity gains in the manufacturing sector than it is in services. But this is manufacturing that's not based in the old industries of the past. It's modern, it's green, it's high-tech, the industries of the future. And they are the industries that deliver the good, meaningful, productive, well-paid jobs that you can raise a family on. And they are the jobs that will get our economy firing on all cylinders right across the UK. We need to get Britain making and exporting at levels that reflect our true potential. This is why the Shadow Chancellor's policy of make, buy and sell more in Britain is so important. A Labour government would change procurement laws so that British government must buy British by default. A Labour government would introduce a green steel deal, creating a world-leading steel industry to power us through the century ahead. And a Labour government would back 100,000 businesses with start-up loans to boost British SMEs. Labour's plan to build a better post-COVID economy, to drive growth and truly get our economy firing on all cylinders with good jobs at its heart. Contrast this approach on our approach on work and good jobs that you can raise a family on with the Conservatives' axing of the long-promised employment bill, which was expected to outlaw the type of dreadful business practice we saw when 800 P&O ferry workers were sacked and replaced by foreign workers paid less than the minimum wage. Labour would outlaw this practice immediately across the board. Madam Deputy Speaker, a modern manufacturing renaissance will not only help to boost growth and help us build a vibrant, modern economy for the future, it will also help us build that resilient economy for the future, a Britain that can stand on its own 2 feet more firmly. By backing British manufacturing, we can reduce supply chain pressures caused by the behaviour of authoritarian states like Russia and China, and by the COVID-19 pandemic. In this regard, an energy security plan is also crucial. It is staggering, frankly, that China owns 33% of the Hinkley Point nuclear power station. Madam Deputy Speaker, there's too little in the UK government's new agenda which actually gets to the core issues, the underlying issues that underpin this cost of living crisis. A wasted decade of low growth has left us with a weak and insecure economy that is ill prepared for the challenges and turbulence of an uncertain world. Building that economy is the job of government. Politicians are not bystanders in this. The Chancellor is not a victim. The Tories have become the party of high taxes and low pay because they are the party of low growth and the party of insecurity. We on these benches believe that Britain deserves better. A Labour government would help workers and families through this cost of living crisis and deliver that resilient, growing, sustainable economy that will get our country fit for the future. Thank you.
Sir Edward Lee.
The Honourable Gentleman for Aberavon attacked